She ripped everything down, streamers, balloons, even the chalk art my daughter spent hours drawing on the sidewalk. At first, I thought maybe a storm had passed through in the night, but the skies were clear, the ground dry, and deep down I knew this wasn't nature's doing. It was hers. Let me take you back just 24 hours earlier, when life was simple, joyful, and full of laughter. We were prepping for my daughter Lily's 7th birthday, her first big celebration since the pandemic. We had invited friends, neighbors, even some of her classmates. She wanted a unicorn-themed party, so we went all out. Pink and purple streamers fluttered from our fence, a giant inflatable rainbow arched across the yard, and Lily's hand-drawn "Welcome to Lily's Magical World" sign hung proudly on the front door. Her joy was contagious. That morning she woke me up at 6 a.m., already in her glittery tutu and tiara, too excited to sleep. We baked cupcakes together, hung decorations and colored chalk drawings of unicorns and rainbows all over the sidewalk. Even the neighbors stopped to admire the scene. Some took photos, others smiled warmly. It felt like the kind of day you bottle up and save for when the world feels heavy. But behind the curtains, watching like a hawk, was Karen, the head of our HOA, the woman who once fined a neighbor for having non-regulation flower pots and who called animal control on a therapy dog for barking during playtime. I saw her drive by slowly that afternoon, her mouth a tight line, her eyes scanning every corner of our decorations like she was taking mental notes for a violation report. Still, I brushed it off. It was a birthday party, for crying out loud. What kind of person would ruin that? Lily went to bed buzzing with anticipation. Her presents were wrapped. Her best friend was sleeping over. Everything was perfect. Or so I thought. By sunrise, that perfect picture was torn to shreds, decorations gone, chalk washed away, birthday banner slashed and dumped in our trash can. My daughter cried as if someone had broken her heart, and in a way, someone had. That was the moment I realized this wasn't just pettiness. It was personal. And if Karen wanted a fight, she just picked the wrong mum to mess with. Her real name is Marlene, but around here we all call her Karen. Because if there were ever a walking, talking stereotype of the nosy, entitled, power-drunk neighborhood tyrant, it's her. Marlene moved into the subdivision about 5 years ago, and within 6 months, she somehow clawed her way onto the HOA board. It didn't take long before the rest of us realized we'd made a horrible mistake. From day one, she treated the HOA bylaws like scripture and herself like the high priestess of suburban order. She has this cold, clipped way of speaking, as if every sentence is an accusation. Her outfits are always ironed to perfection, her short blonde bob immaculately sprayed into place, and her expression, permanently disapproving. She doesn't walk. She patrols. I've seen her take photos of people's trash cans if they're left out an hour too late, and she once threatened to fine a family for hanging a Happy Holidays sign that wasn't HOA approved. I wish I were joking. For a while I tried to stay on her good side, smiling when I saw her, waving politely, even trimming our bushes a little more frequently just to avoid drawing her attention. But nothing is ever enough for Karen. The moment she finds a target, she locks in with the tenacity of a debt collector. One of our neighbors, a sweet elderly man named Mr. Jenkins, received a formal citation for excessive yard gnomes. Yes, yard gnomes. Another couple got a warning for their kids' sidewalk chalk drawings being graffiti. That should have been my red flag. Karen seemed to take a particular interest in our family. Maybe it was because we didn't tiptoe around her. Maybe it was because my husband once challenged her about banning basketball hoops from driveways. Or maybe, as I would later realize, she just couldn't stand the idea of people, especially kids, being too happy, too loud, too free on her watch. She never had children, never married, and always spoke as if emotion were a weakness. I remember once overhearing her say, "This isn't a playground. It's a community, as if the two were mutually exclusive. People tolerated her, mostly out of fear of fines and hassle. But no one liked her. No one trusted her. And when she destroyed my daughter's birthday decorations, that facade of forced civility shattered for good. Karen had finally gone too far. The sun was already warming the pavement when I stepped outside that morning, arms full of decorations and a head full of excitement. It was Lily's big day, and I wanted everything to be perfect. The yard was like a blank canvas waiting to come alive. Within minutes, streamers danced in the breeze, balloons bobbed gently along the fence line, and the inflatable unicorn we ordered online was proudly anchored to the front lawn, looking just as magical as Lily had imagined. She was running back and forth in her sparkly sneakers, helping tape rainbow banners to the mailbox, and carefully laying out goodie bags on a small decorated table near the porch. Every detail mattered to her. Glitter on the cupcake table, the pastel color scheme, the chalk-drawn birthday message she scrawled herself across the sidewalk in big, bubbly letters. It read, "Lily's magical birthday party, come join the fun," in her careful 7-year-old handwriting. Her joy was so pure, so contagious, that even a few neighbors came by early just to say how wonderful everything looked. A couple of kids from the block stopped to admire the unicorn and giggled with Lily as she showed off her decorations. I saw Karen's car inching down the street around mid-morning. It was her usual routine. Slow crawl, window down, eyes scanning for infractions. She didn't wave, just stared. Her gaze locked on our yard like it offended her personally. For a second, I felt a chill run down my spine, but I quickly brushed it off. This was a child's birthday. No sane adult would take issue with a few balloons and chalk drawings. Besides, the rules allowed temporary decorations for special occasions, and we'd followed every guideline down to the last detail. As the hours passed, more friends arrived, dropping off gifts and offering to help with setup. We had music playing softly from a speaker, little paper lanterns ready to light up as the sun went down, and the smell of cupcakes drifting from the kitchen windows. Lily was glowing, spinning in her tutu, hugging her stuffed unicorn, and counting down the minutes until her friends would arrive for the party. Everything felt perfect, safe, beautiful. A celebration not just of a birthday, but of joy, family, and childhood wonder. But now looking back, I see that moment for what it really was. The peak of calm before everything unraveled. Because somewhere, not far from our laughter, Karen was watching and planning. I woke up early the next morning, heart pounding with that same fluttery excitement Lily had the day before. Her birthday party was just hours away. I tiptoed past her room where she was still asleep, tiara slightly crooked on her pillow, and stepped outside to take one last look at everything. But when I opened the door, my stomach dropped. The yard was bare. At first I couldn't comprehend what I was seeing. It was like someone had taken an eraser to everything we'd built. The streamers were gone. The balloons, every single one, had vanished. The sidewalk chalk message had been scrubbed away, not by rain, but by deliberate, harsh water streaks. The cupcake table was overturned, and the unicorn inflatable lay deflated on the grass like a wounded animal. I rushed to the trash bin and found the birthday banner inside, slashed clean down the middle. My hands shook as I pulled it out. The glittery letters Lily had helped cut and glue now looked pathetic, wilted and soaked. I stood there in stunned silence, unable to move, a knot tightening in my chest. For a moment I thought, maybe it was a prank. Maybe some teens thought it would be funny. But something told me it wasn't random. This was too targeted, too vicious. Then I remembered the security camera above the garage. I ran inside, pulled up the footage on my phone, and there she was. Karen, 5:42 a.m., wearing black pants, gloves, and a baseball cap, creeping across our lawn like some HOA ninja. She yanked down the streamers, stomped on the chalk art, and even kicked over the cupcake table with a level of fury that made my skin crawl. Watching it felt surreal, like a nightmare caught on tape. She didn't hesitate. She didn't even look around, just marched through our decorations like a wrecking ball with a grudge. I barely had time to collect myself before Lily came outside, expecting magic. Her eyes lit up, then froze. She blinked at the yard, then at me, then back to the empty space where her unicorn once stood. "Mum, where is it?" Her voice cracked, and I could see the tears building. I dropped to my knees and held her, furious and heartbroken. I had no words. Someone had just ruined her birthday, and I wasn't going to let them get away with it. I filed the complaint within the hour, attached the footage, sent it to every single board member on the HOA contact list. I was calm in my email. Too calm, really. I thought if I followed the process, showed the evidence, they'd see how outrageous this was. Surely no one could watch that video and side with her. But I underestimated just how twisted things could get when petty power meets a shield of bureaucracy. The first response came that evening, a stiff email from the HOA president thanking me for my concern and assuring me the issue would be reviewed according to protocol. No apology, no outrage, just cold formality. I followed up, asking when the board would be meeting to discuss it. That's when the gaslighting started. They said the footage wasn't clear, that it appeared to show someone, but the lighting made it difficult to confirm identity. I zoomed in and sent a still image of Karen's face, clearly illuminated by our porch light as she ripped down the banner. Still, they claimed it was not conclusive. Then they pivoted. Apparently, I had violated a rule about decorations exceeding the temporary display limit. A new email arrived, not to apologize but to warn me. According to them, I should have submitted a formal request to the HOA before putting up multiple large decorative items on a shared view property. I was being accused of non-compliance. They were trying to flip the script and make me the problem. When I pushed back, one of the board members, a friend of Karen's, wrote me directly. His message was short and threatening. "If you continue to distribute misleading accusations, we will have no choice but to pursue defamation claims." I stared at that email in disbelief. I wasn't just being ignored, I was being threatened. Neighbors began whispering. A few told me they supported me, but were scared to speak up, worried about being targeted next. Others had been victims of Karen's pettiness, but never had proof. Just fines and letters and long silences. I sat on my couch, phone buzzing with unread messages, staring at the footage again. The truth was right there. And yet somehow, the very people meant to protect the neighborhood were protecting her. That was when I realized this wasn't just about a birthday party anymore. It was about standing up to someone who had bullied an entire community under the guise of authority. And I wasn't going to be silent. I didn't sleep that night. I just kept replaying the footage in my mind. Karen's smug face, her calculated destruction, the way she didn't even flinch. My daughter's sobs echoed in my ears. The more I thought about it, the more furious I became. If the HOA wouldn't do anything, then I had to find someone who would. That's when I opened my laptop and started writing an email to the local news station. I kept it short but powerful. I included the video clip, a brief timeline of what happened, and a photo of Lily standing in her empty yard, holding the torn birthday banner with tears in her eyes. I didn't expect much. Local stations get flooded with stories every day. But I hit send anyway, and something in me shifted. I was done being quiet. For 2 days, nothing happened. I went about my routine with a heavy heart, trying to reassure Lily that her birthday wasn't ruined, that we'd make it up to her. But the disappointment lingered. Then, late Tuesday afternoon, I got a reply. It was from a junior reporter at Channel 9, someone named Jess, who said, "This story It needs to be told. By the next morning, Jess was standing on my front lawn with a cameraman. I showed her the footage, walked her through the timeline, and told her everything the HOA refused to acknowledge. She was stunned, especially at the video. When we played it for her, her jaw dropped. She just destroyed it all, Jess whispered, shaking her head. The segment aired that evening. It was a quiet news day, so our story led the lifestyle segment. But it wasn't just the broadcast that mattered. It was what happened next. Jess had uploaded the footage to the station's Facebook and Twitter pages, tagging it, #birthdaygate. Within hours, the video exploded. Hundreds of shares, thousands of comments. People were outraged. Strangers were tagging the HOA, demanding accountability. Memes started popping up with Karen's face and sarcastic captions like Grinch of the gated community. People started sharing their own HOA horror stories in solidarity. It was like a dam had burst. By the time I went to bed that night, the story had reached over 100,000 views. And that was just the beginning. The world was watching now. And Karen, she had no idea what was coming. By sunrise, the story had taken on a life of its own. I woke up to my phone buzzing like a hive. Notifications, messages, tags from people I didn't even know. The original news segment had been picked up by a national parenting blog, then Reddit got a hold of it. That's when everything exploded. The video made it to the front page of r/public freakout and r/FHOA, and within hours it had racked up millions of views. Karen, the once untouchable HOA queen, had become the face of suburban tyranny, and the internet had no mercy. Someone found her Facebook profile, and within minutes, screenshots of her rants about lazy neighbors and children being a nuisance were circulating everywhere. Her face from the security footage, mouth tight, eyes narrowed as she yanked down the banner, was frozen, memed, and shared across every platform. People dubbed her the birthday basher, Hoazilla, and the party pooper. One TikTok creator even did a dramatic reenactment of the incident using Barbie dolls, and it went viral with millions of likes in a day. Then came the compilations. YouTubers were stitching my footage into their HOA horror story videos. Commentary channels dissected every frame, and reaction videos poured in with people screaming at their screens in disbelief. My inbox was full. Parents sharing their stories, influencers offering to donate decorations for a do-over party, even a bakery 2 towns over offering free cupcakes for Lily. Strangers started mailing cards to our address. One little girl sent Lily a handmade birthday crown with a note. "You deserve magic. Don't let mean ladies win." And the pressure didn't stop there. Internet sleuths uncovered that Karen had a long history of HOA complaints, fines, warnings, even letters she'd sent to a widowed veteran over a flagpole he'd installed. Screenshots of those documents hit Twitter, fueling the outrage. A petition to remove her from the HOA board reached 50,000 signatures in 2 days. The board's contact info was public, and they began receiving calls from across the country. Karen went dark. Her social media accounts were deleted. Her house lights stayed off for days. But the storm wasn't letting up. The internet had made its decision. This wasn't just about one ruined party. It was about standing up to every petty tyrant who'd ever tried to crush joy in the name of control. And Karen was now their symbol. The HOA board had clearly underestimated the internet's appetite for justice. Within days of the video going viral, their inboxes were flooded, their voicemails packed with angry messages from all corners of the country. Sponsors who had once supported the HOA's community events started backing out quietly. Local businesses that had advertised in our newsletters distanced themselves. One even posted a statement online. "We support kindness, not control." The pressure was mounting fast, and the board couldn't keep dodging it. Then came the emergency meeting. It was announced quietly, with less than 24 hours' notice. But word spread fast, thanks to social media, neighbors, and a few determined residents who had had enough. That night, the community clubhouse was packed. People stood along the walls, sat on folding chairs, even spilled out onto the lawn just to hear what would happen. I arrived with the printed footage in hand, Lily at my side, holding her new birthday crown that a stranger had sent her from Oregon. I didn't need to say much. Everyone had already seen the truth. Karen showed up late, wearing dark glasses and a strained expression. She tried to sit in the front, but the silence that followed her entrance was suffocating. When the meeting opened, the board president attempted damage control, stammering about investigation procedures and protocols, but it was useless. One by one, neighbors stood and spoke, not just about Lily's birthday, but about years of being bullied, silenced, fined, and intimidated by Karen. Stories poured out, some heartbreaking, others infuriating. Then came the vote. Someone from the crowd demanded it, an immediate vote to remove Karen from the HOA board. According to the bylaws, with a 2/3 majority, it was possible. Hands went up. Fast. I'd never seen anything like it. It was like a collective exhale. Years of pent-up frustration finally released. When the count finished, it wasn't even close. Karen was out, officially removed from her post. She didn't speak. She didn't protest. She just stood, turned, and walked out of the clubhouse. No goodbye, no apology. The next morning, a for sale sign was planted on her lawn. And just like that, the woman who thought she controlled the neighborhood was gone. The HOA had tried to protect her. The system had tried to gaslight me. But in the end, the truth, and a little help from the internet, did what they couldn't. A week later, something incredible happened. I was still picking up the pieces of the whole ordeal, emotionally more than anything. Lily was quieter than usual, still clinging to the idea that her birthday had been ruined. I tried to reassure her, but some part of me feared the damage had been done. Then one afternoon, we heard a knock at the door. When I opened it, there were 3 neighborhood kids holding balloons and a handmade sign that read, "Lily's real birthday party, take 2." Behind them, dozens of people filled our front lawn. Neighbors I barely knew, families from down the street, even a few folks from nearby communities who had seen the story online. All of them gathered with gifts, snacks, and decorations in hand. Someone brought a new unicorn inflatable, even bigger than the last one. Another set up folding tables lined with cupcakes and juice boxes. There were rainbow banners, chalk drawings, music, and laughter. More than I could have imagined. It wasn't just a redo, it was a redemption. Lily's eyes lit up as she stepped outside. For a moment, she stood frozen, staring in disbelief. Then she ran straight into the crowd, arms wide, squealing with joy. She wore her crown proudly, the one mailed by the little girl from Oregon, and someone even handed her a microphone to say thank you. Her voice cracked as she said, "This is the best birthday ever." And I wasn't the only one tearing up. Local businesses donated food, a face painter came out free of charge, and a local radio DJ even stopped by to spin a few kid-friendly tracks. The lawn transformed into a festival of joy, not because of expensive decorations or perfect weather, but because of love, community, kindness, and a shared understanding that what happened to Lily had hurt more than just a little girl's birthday. It had touched something in all of us. Karen's house stayed quiet the whole time. The curtains were drawn, the for sale sign still standing, ignored like a relic from a bad memory. As the sun set and fairy lights twinkled across the yard, I looked around and realized something simple but profound. People had come together not out of pity, but because they believed in something better. And somehow, in the ruins of a ruined celebration, we'd created something far more powerful than a party. We had taken back our joy. Looking back now, it's almost surreal how something as simple as a child's birthday party became a catalyst for change, not just in our neighborhood, but in the way people viewed power, silence, and standing up for what's right. At the time, I just wanted to fix what had been broken for my daughter. I never imagined it would spark a community-wide reckoning, or that strangers across the country would care about our little corner of suburbia. But they did, and that's what still amazes me. Karen had ruled with fear for so long that people forgot they had a voice. She used policies like weapons, cloaking cruelty and technicalities. Acting like authority gave her the right to crush joy if it didn't fit her vision of order. But the moment people saw the truth laid bare, caught on camera, exposed on the internet, something cracked open. The fear that kept people silent began to evaporate, and what replaced it was solidarity. People often think they're alone in these battles, that no one will care, or that speaking out will just make things worse. I understand that now more than ever. There were moments when I questioned everything, when I wondered if pushing back would only bring more trouble. But here's what I learned. Bullies thrive in silence. They count on your hesitation, on your willingness to let things go for the sake of peace. But peace without dignity isn't peace at all. If I hadn't spoken up, if I had let the footage collect dust and just thrown away the torn banner, Karen would still be on that board. She'd still be lurking behind bushes, policing decorations, and making people feel small. But now she's gone. And in her place, a stronger, kinder community that realized it didn't have to tolerate abuse dressed as leadership. To anyone who's been steamrolled by someone hiding behind a title or badge or policy manual, know this. You are not powerless. Your voice matters. One clip, one post, one moment of courage can spark a ripple that reaches farther than you ever expected. Lily still talks about her birthday, but not the ruined one. She remembers the second one, the one filled with laughter, support, and unexpected kindness. And that's the birthday she'll carry with her. Not the one that was taken away, but the one we reclaimed. Together.